it out, and so she actually has a label for it.
That's how we got into independent.
Wasn't able to.
You know that guy who was going to be coming
We won't
from
actually be able
afar?
to see each other.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll check with Paul, but I guess he's very not.
Are you
What do you think, Dan?
I think he's still alive.
I think we're pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of hoping
think
your friend would show up.
neither and my equivalent.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
There's like a
Very well.
Gates is down. It wasn't a clear purpose.
All right, well, welcome to the quartet on the stage. This is Mr. Paul Combs has come up to present the music tonight with this fine band. Paul's playing saxophone, and we'll tell you more about his involvement in this little game. Whoa, that's okay. I did it on the other. I think I just won't put it on there. What do you say? So, yeah, the band that you have here, the rhythm section is a work. Ken Cook on piano. Doug Miller on bass. And Alex Aspinall on drums. All right, so Paul has several years in a project that starts with this book, Dameronia, about the pianist and composer and arranger Tad Dameron, who was key, as he'll tell you, in a lot of ways. And at a point a few years later, he recorded a CD of material. He'll explain, but researching it, he found a lot of material that hadn't been really recorded and released and so on. So, and that band includes you, Ken, right? And you, Alex?
Yes.
Yeah, on some of it.
Perhaps not Doug, so we're asking Doug to actually face the curtain for this show. So we have a mask on the back of his head, it's just like some other bassist. Since you don't know what the other bassists look like, it doesn't matter which bassist mask we give them. But no, I think we can get away with two faces. So thank you for coming out. 2 sets of music. Enjoy yourselves. I'm going to put this back here so we get a chance to knock them off again later.
All right.
Okay.
I've got more.
Oh, there you go. Thanks for coming out.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I guess this is, I'm speaking to you. Oh, wait, there I am. Okay. Part of this is to speak to those people out there. They're out there. So I understand. And you're here. And I thank you for being here to share this evening with us. That was probably, maybe at this point, Tad Dameron's best known composition. Often I think people play it and don't even know who he was or that he was the one who wrote it, but there it is. It's called Lady Bird, and it's associated with the 1940s, with the bebop era, but in actuality, he had written it already in 1939. And there's another of his very well-known tunes called Good Bait. He had also written that in 1939. And another one associated with the bop era, Hot House, he had written that in 1939. And I'd say this to you because this man is really, he's part of what we all do, even those of us musicians in this genre who aren't aware of him, you know, but he lives on in what we do just as much as Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie and some others who are now not so well remembered, like Kenny Clark, who should be well remembered, in a way the godfather of modern drumming. Maybe that's a little extreme, but anyhow. So this is Tad Dameron, and I should say before you leave, I have a CD to give you. It was the first CD I made. It's called Hawk's Delight, and that's where my my research adventure started. Tad Dameron I was aware of already when I was a teenager. His whole thinking about why we do music is important to me. And so I wrote this tune, and I heard his influence on me, and I went to the library, and there wasn't any book, so I'd never written one before. I didn't know what I was in for, but it's here. It's called Dameronia. So in the course of doing all this, I uncovered a lot of music of Tad Dameron's that wasn't known. There's 8 tunes that I think we could say are part of the canon, part of what most jazz musicians could at least hum, you know. And I have music for something like 135 of titles out of 180 something titles that I know of. Some of the music is lost to history, but we have the titles and we know that he did it. So we're going to go on with one now that he wrote for a Milt Jackson recording that was on the Atlantic Records label. And sadly, this record never came out because there was a fire in the vaults of Atlantic Records, and the master was toasted along with a whole bunch of other things. And it's called Beautifully Adorned. Thank you. Thank you very much. Once again, you're listening to Ken Cook at the piano, Doug Miller at the bass, and Alex Aspinall, who I keep obscuring here, back there on the drums. And this is a show I've done a couple of times before, but I do have to give my big thanks to people of this caliber that I can blow into town, and we can spend a little bit of time in the morning going over things and mix and stir and make it happen. Of course, that's all part of what we jazz musicians do. What you just heard was a tune. Tad wrote this one in 1956. He called it The Rampage. He wrote something very similar for Woody Herman at this time, called Slight Groove, and that was recorded. But this one was never recorded. You have to understand, see, Tad Dameron only worked for and with the very, very best. He wrote charts for everybody. He wrote charts for Basie. He wrote a chart for Duke Ellington. I have it on good word, although we've never been able to find them, that he wrote charts for Ella Fitzgerald. He scored some charts for Carmen McRae that she recorded. And, when he needed trumpet players, they were Fats Navarro, Clifford Brown, Kenny Dorham. On a big band date, he had Clark Terry. And, this is the level of players he was with. And in fact, when I was working on the book, I caught up with Dizzy, they were very close friends. And after talking with him, you didn't get much time with Dizzy. He was a very busy man. But we shook hands. He held onto my hand, looked me in the eye, and said, "Promise me you're going to finish this book." Okay? So, and being my first book, and not an easy one to write, because Tad was very, very private. So doing the biography part was a lot of detective work. There were times when and then I thought about that, and Dizzy had passed, and I promised Dizzy I'd finish the book. I better finish the book. So anyway, so that's The Rampage, written in 1956, a rather difficult year for him, but also a productive one. And if you can ever find, it's a rare, it's out of print Woody, a gig of Woody, record of Woody's, but it's on there. He began, his first recorded work is in 1940. Again, this is the guy goes back. He graduates high school in 1935, and by the time he's 21, he's in Kansas City writing for Harlan Leonard's Kansas City Rockets, which was the other band that came out of, this is getting now kind of in the weeds, but there was a famous band, the Benny Moten Band in Kansas City. And out of the Benny Moten Band came the Basie Organization, and the other band that came out of that was Harlan Leonard's Rockets. And because of the way the business turned in 1941, the World War II starts, and guys are getting drafted, and then soon after that there's a 2.5 year strike on the part of the musicians union, and there's no recording, and it kind of killed a lot of those bands that were starting to get traction at that time. And the Kansas City Rockets was one of those fatalities. But they did make records for Bluebird, RCA's label, and Tad's first compositions are recorded on this. We're going to play one for you now. This is a favorite of mine called A La Bridges, and this was something inspired by a tenor saxophonist named Henry Bridges. It's giving him his due. He was an up and coming, recognized, really serious swing era tenor player, and he was in this band, but he was drafted into the war, and when he came out of the Army, for one reason or another, he chose not to continue pursuing the musical career. So Henry Bridges, and he called this A La Bridges. The other thing that's interesting about it is that Tad cites three main influences, at least on his early writing, and they were Duke Ellington and George Gershwin and the guys who were writing for the Jimmy Lunsford Band, which Tad ended up working for right after he worked for the Kansas City Rockets. So anyway, this is A La Bridges. Set that one up. The next tune was also has a connection with Woody Herman. It started off as a jingle for Woody's radio shows in the 1940s, and it was originally supposed to be a jingle for Wild Root Cream Oil. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember Wild Root Cream Oil, but was a hair tonic that existed at one time. And it's called Cream Oil Charlie. But the radio station changed sponsors before it could be deployed. So Tad repurposed it. There was an interesting character. Oh, golly. You know, like any history, there's so much in there, and I get deep into it. But there was a fellow named Babs Gonzalez. Now, any of you who are bop fans may well know about Babs Gonzalez. Babs Gonzalez was he called himself the inventor of the bop language, I think, or something like that. He was a very interesting hipster. Guy played a little bit of drums, and he sang. And he was really a very good scat improviser. And he had this band called Three Bibs and a Bop. And the bop was Tad Damron, who played piano and also sang backup vocals or along with Babs on some of these things. And they so in 1946, I think they started recording for Blue Note, and they recorded this as Do Blah Blee. One of the things I really treasure about Tad Dameron is his versatility as a composer. Going through and they're just, like I say, I've got music for something like 135 compositions. And although he has a voice as a composer, and you can recognize very often, once you know, you can hear, oh, that's probably a Tad Dameron tune. But he does all these interesting tricks. So the bebop tunes are generally associated with sophisticated harmony, a lot of what we call accidental notes that are outside of the key. And this clearly is a bop tune, but everything is what we call diatonic. It's all the scale notes, just regular scale notes. So he's always having some fun with the things that he's writing. We're going to finish up this set with something that three of us recorded. It's on the recording that we have available here, The Unknown Dameron, and this is a late work of his. Tad Dameron was born in 1917, and he died in 1965, sadly, only 48 years. If he had lived just a bit longer, I think he would be much more acknowledged. But anyway, in his last few years, he wrote a lot of songs with lyrics, and this is one. It's called Weekend. It tells the story of a brief fling on the ski slopes, of all places. And but I'm not going to sing it, so you'll have it's a fun lyric, and it's called Weekend, and we're going to do it as kind of a samba, and we don't know. He never recorded it, so we don't know what he had in mind, but somehow it seems to fit that kind of groove, and we'll have some fun with it. We'll set Alex loose on this one, since he's back there. All right. Thank you. Alex Aspinall, Doug Miller, Ken Cook, yours truly, Paul Combs. We're going to take a little break. We have compact discs here for anybody who still has a compact disc player. I don't know, but I hope you do.
Also on 78s.
Yes, that'll be the next one. We'll put it on an 8-track. and of course, copies of the book, Damronia, The Life and Music of Tad Damron. We shall take a what we jazz musicians call a short break, and we'll try not to make it too long. And we'll be back. guitar player.
Sure.
Just me and a bass
I
player.
feel kind of out of nowhere, but
Yeah.
okay.
They're like little.
Sorry for the floor.
I think I would love some if I had some.
I did get it out and work it up, but I love this horn so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On a misty night.
I think you and I trade on this one.
Bass, drums, sax.
Yeah, yeah, you guys are gonna trade on that. We'll do If You Could See Me Now, This Night of Stars, and we'll see how the time goes. Okay. Find it. And, soprano, huh? Why are you doing this to me? Must have done an update on this program, just not behaving the way I'm used to. It's not high enough. All right.
B flat.
Yeah.
E flat, right?
We're gonna on the 5 though.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought,
Yeah.
I
one
wanted
on
it, maybe it was one of those where I gave you the charting the wrong key. One, two, oh, 1, 2. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, we have Ken Cook at the piano and Doug Miller at the bass and Alex Aspinall at the drums and cymbals. And my name's Paul Combs, and I thank you for coming out to enjoy this evening with us. That's a tune appropriate for, I think, any evening in San Francisco. It's called On a Misty Night. And it's one of those that I consider to be the part of the 8 that are in the jazz canon. That is, most jazz musicians at least can recognize it and hum it, if they don't have it in their repertoire. And it's what came from a recording he made in 1956 called Mating Call. It was on the Prestige label. It gets reissued, or parts of it gets reissued under the name of John Coltrane, because John Coltrane was his sideman on this. But for the record, it was a Tad Dameron record, and Tad, being as much a part of the scene as he was, had been no doubt watching the progress of young John from his days with Dizzy Gillespie at the end of the 1940s and going forward. He also knew him from the time, you see, after the bop period in the early 50s, there weren't, except for the people with big names, there wasn't a lot of work for jazz musicians. Most of the work was in floor shows and with R&B bands. And Tad indeed played in one with a guy named Bull Moose Jackson, a tenor saxophonist and singer who had some great success on selling records, and was actually somebody who grew up in the same neighborhood as Tad Dameron, a little bit younger, so they knew each other from the neighborhood. And Tad wrote arrangements for Bull Moose Jackson. In fact, he wrote all of Bull Moose Jackson's ballad arrangements. And Bull Moose Jackson's first big hit was a ballad called "I Really Do Love You," and that's a Tad Dameron arrangement. So anyway, that's where in Bull Moose Jackson's band, Tad met Benny Golson, and Benny has a lot to say. In fact, he wrote the foreword to my book on Tad Dameron, and it's also where he met Joseph Rudolph Jones, whom he named Philly Joe. And so this is how much I'm saying he's like really so important and so much part of the whole history of this music. So anyway, that was On a Misty Night. We're going to play his very famous ballad, just because it's a lovely tune and I love it. And this he wrote in 1946 for Sarah Vaughan, who he was coaching her. He was a vocal coach also. He was a decent singer himself, and what part of how he made his living was vocal coaching, and he knew Sarah certainly from the Billy Eckstine band, and her first album, 78 albums were 2 78s. It was so 4 sides in a little folder. There was an album, and her first recordings that are under her own name, Sarah Vaughan, with orchestra conducted by Tad Dameron, and he wrote the arrangements for these 4 tunes, and probably contracted the orchestra and the band and so on, because Bud Powell's on that. There's a lot of great players in that little band that's with the strings and so on. So this is called "If You Could See Me Now," and I don't believe that any self-respecting jazz singer is unacquainted with it, and most of them have it somewhere in their repertoire. If You Could See Me Now. And what's happening here? There it is. Not that I should need it. Just throw me off if I look down and so I don't. Okay. Not too slow, not too fast. Yeah. Great tune. He's written other things, other ballads, and other ones that we hope will be heard. Actually, I'll give you a little heads up. There's an album coming out in the fall on the Steeplechase label that I had the pleasure of helping to make happen. It's just in pulling up the music for them. The great baritone saxophonist Gary Smulyan with a quartet backing up a very interesting young singer named Anais Reno, and an album full of Tad Damron tunes, including this next one, which until they somehow managed to get past the difficulties that were there, we couldn't record it because it was hung up in copyright purgatory, so, but I'm glad it's finally out there. It's called This Night of Stars. And the lyricist who wrote the lyric for If You Could See Me Now, his name was Carl Sigman. If you look him up, you'll be amazed at the number of songs that Carl Sigman wrote lyrics for. But he also wrote the lyric for this. So I'd like to recite to the best of my ability, being in a house of poetry, the lyric for you, and then we will play for you this tune called This Night of Stars. This night of stars is ours, it's ours. Let's take it while we may. A million tiny twinkling eyes shine down on us from purple skies. Come here to me, come near to me, so dear to me you are. Oh, say you care, and help me share this beautiful night of stars. Sorry, folks, but we have these things have to be mix and stir, in a show like this. I don't get to have this band, although I wish I could, but I live in San Diego, and I come up here. We had talked this over this morning, and then we have to remember what we agreed upon. So I apologize for that. Broke the mood, but anyway. Oh, say you care, and come and share this beautiful night of stars. Thank you. This Night of Stars. Eric, can you put your hand up? Two more or only one? Okay. All right. Good. Good. This next one is another one that I consider part of the 8 in the canon. It also comes from that recording, the Mating Call. Mating Call. And all Tad Dameron tunes, wonderful. We could do a set just playing that album. But anyhow, and as I say, there's a whole lot of these tunes to play. I mainly was hoping to help spread the word that this guy was on the planet and he lives on within us. So we're going to play Soul Train, which was originally recorded as a ballad. I like to do it as a bolero, but sort of a ballad bolero. So we'll focus our minds for a moment on this and then give it to you. I gotta switch horns. Otherwise, it will be harmonic. Tad Dameron meets Ornette Coleman. Another project for another day. One, two, one, two. No. Double up. No, I'm counting. Remember, my quarter notes are your half notes.
Twice as fast?
Yes.
Yeah,
The bolero
I'm
is
playing
twice
2
as
to a
fast
bar.
over yeah, so it has more motion on this one. But these are my quarter notes. 2, 3, 4. So as I said, Tad wrote arrangements for a lot of great bands. One of them was the band of Jimmy Lunceford, which had inspired him when he was a young musician, a youngster, listening to music, and then he ended up writing for the band. He worked for them for a while as a rehearsal coach as well as an arranger on staff, and then he continued to as a freelancer write charts for Lunceford. This one, which was never recorded because it was late in the Lunceford, I think he probably wrote this around 45, and Lunceford died in 46 or early 47 in a plane crash, and that was sort of the end of the band. But I had it on good word from a gentleman who played piano on 52nd Street back in that day, that he heard the Lunceford band playing this tune. There were musicians in the Lunceford band who were embracing Islam at the time. Tad didn't, but he found it interesting, and he named this tune after one of the principles of Islam, zakat, which I understand to be the principle of generosity and giving alms. So this is zakat, and the other thing that's interesting about it is that this chart that he wrote could very easily work with a smaller band. In fact, I've done that, and in fact a band even this small. But this is basically the chart that Tad Dameron wrote for Lunceford, zakat. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you all for coming out and sharing this beautiful night of stars with us. Again, Ken Cook at the piano. Doug Miller, bassist. And Alex Aspinall at the drums. My name is Paul Combs, and it's been a pleasure playing for you. I want to thank Eric Whittington and Bird & Beckett Books for hosting us this evening. And I'd like to wish you all a happy and thoughtful Juneteenth. And for all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. We hope we hope you will drive safe and be kind to each other, and we look forward to seeing you again somewhere down the road. This is a piece called A Blue Time. Tad wrote it for Blue Mitchell, and I thought it would be a nice way to say good night.
Quartet, Paul Combs, Tim Cook on piano, Doug Miller on bass, and Alex Aspinall on drums. All right, thank you for spending the evening with us and for, learning more than any of us knew about Tad Dameron. As much as, he's been hugely appreciated by a whole lot